Good day to all. Welcome to Extreme Recap. I'm going to talk about the movie Rambo: Last Blood, where a veteran of the military saves his niece and exacts severe retribution on a criminal cartel. As a volunteer, the rescuers searched for missing tourists during a severe storm. They receive assistance from John Rambo, an excellent tracker and elderly Vietnam veteran. He saves a young girl while two people die. John goes back to the farm, takes some pills, and he and his relative have tea. It's a despair and recalls individuals he was unable to save. Additionally, Rimbod thinks of his brothers who perished in the war. He goes to the underground maze and sits alone. Just this assists him with enduring the torment toward the beginning of the day. John rides a new, unyielding steed, and eats. And afterward goes to his number one underground maze, where he is tortured by Vietnamese flashbacks to adapt to troublesome recollections. He is helped by actual work. He makes a knife, and his life is made brighter by his young niece, Gabriella. She will head off to college. She is dear to the old man. They ride horses together, and he even lets her show friends the underground tunnel and invite them over, late at night. Gabriella invests energy with her companions in her uncle's maze. Somebody calls her when her companions return home. Young lady tells Uncle John that she wants to meet him in another country, even though she lives in Mexico. Be that as it may, Ramada could do without it by any stretch of the imagination. The veteran is reluctant to part with the infant. A perilous world is far away. All things considered, he raised her for a long time at his own little girl in the first part of the day. Gabriel insists solely on her. She desires to personally confront her father and inquire as to why he left her. She is being discouraged by John and her grandmother. We learned that Gabrielle's father was never interested in her life and that her mother died of cancer many years ago. Reese girl, with the contentions of her family members and imagines pass on to concentrate, however turns the alternate way. Gabriella visits her friend in Mexico. He also takes her to her father at night. The long-suffering father has no burning desire to speak with his daughter. He advises you not to look for a meeting with him any longer and states that he never wanted her. To comfort Gabriella, the weeping girl runs away. She is taken to a nightclub by her friend. Young beauty meets a man there. He pours something into a glass and gives her a drink. Bandits also make a deal in the following scene. Here young ladies are sold in a massage parlor. John also learns that his niece went to Mexico and vanished. He climbs into the vehicle and pursues her. Gabrielle ends up in a horrible cellar. The main band, in addition to other captured girls who were similar to them. If they escape, it threatens them with retaliation. Gabriel, who was powerless and always bitter out of fear when John Rambo first arrives in Mexico, the father of the girl is the first person he meets. But naturally, he is unaware of her location, so the veteran locates Gabrielle's friend. She claims that they got lost because she got drunk at the disco. He observes things like, "You can't fool Rambo." Gabriella gave them her hand, which she had previously given to her mother, and she assumed immediately that a friend had sold his adopted daughter into slavery. John is brought to the nightclub by the girl, who then reveals that the same man who stole his niece from Rue Rebound attacks him and demands to know where Gabriella is mute. The war hero then beats him and forces him into a car before running off to find a woman. A person shows Rainbow. When the sold girls arrive, the veteran knocks him out and goes to help his niece. Where's the brothel? However, entering the gangster's den is not an easy task. All things considered, there are equipped individuals around right now. The brothel is visited by the police, but not to free anyone. However, in order to take full advantage of the girls, he grabbed Gabriella violently and did everything to her. Additionally, the smugglers assert that the detained individuals will need to put in a lot of effort and serve others. 40 to 50 men per night at this point. Bands surround Rimba. They track down a photograph of Gabriella in his wallet, and they severely beat him. They leave John alive with the goal that he experiences consistently, the acknowledgement of how hard-heartedly a painful young lady conferring the crooks make an imprint on his cheek, thumped. A woman who has been following John Rambo for all this time comes and grabs him. Gabriel was driven away from the legal substances by the criminals, who left their mark on her face. Rimbod is inspected by a specialist of veteran for quite a while. He hasn't woken up in 4 days and is unconscious. He realizes his mistake. The one who saved him calls herself Carmen. She is a freelance journalist who has spent a long time looking for the criminal cartel. The Martin brothers took her sister 2 years ago. The girl was found dead after that. Carmen was asked to assist John in finding his niece. Rimbaud enters the brothel while dressed as a customer. Gabriel appears to be partially alive after he brutally beats the guards. She is drained, unconscious, and high on potent substances. She was mocked by the monsters for several days. John places her in his arms and brings her there. And the criminals are enraged. Also, pursue them in pursuit. In the vehicle, Gabriella asks her uncle for pardoning, yet he says, which isn't the slightest bit irritated by her. After all, she gave his life purpose. The girl dies after permanently closing her eyes. She makes John sad. Damien Rimbaud advises grandmother Gabriella to move elsewhere in the morning, and he himself gets ready for a meeting with a bandit group. He brings the bodies home to bury them with them. John puts in a lot of effort and makes his underground labyrinth stronger. Rimbaud pays his girlfriend a visit, Carmen, and seek assistance in locating the geeks who murdered his niece. The journalist tries to persuade him to put everything behind him and get back to living. However, the veteran is inflexible and dreams of awful revenge. He kills one of the Martinez brothers, who own the criminal cartel, violently, leaving behind a picture and additional body parts. The surviving brother, Gabriella, becomes enraged and gathers his gang to exact revenge. The ranch where the Vietnamese veteran lives is visited by the entire crime family. However, Ramo is prepared for a warm reception. A few hoodlum vehicles immediately take off up high from a strong blast and break into pieces. The criminals ran to the house with their guns, but many of them died right away. They are, after all, being shot at by arrows. Rimba leaps from the ground at this point and shoots his opponent in the back. Then goes underground to hide. A banner must be lowered. They navigate the underground maze, but Rambo cranks up the music to the hilt and fires deadly bullets at some of them to further confuse the criminals. He kills a couple of additional hooligans easily, some getting covered on the bomb, while others fall into his destructive snares. Also, presently practically every one of the food sources are killed. The most significant of them, Martinez, the bayonet, figures out how to shoot Rambo with the legend, ignores the situation and disappears. After all, in his underground labyrinth, he feels like a fish in water. Martinez hears from John that his days are numbered. The criminal family's leader makes his way through the tunnel. The bombs detonate pretty much every step. He escapes the labyrinth and ends up in an outbuilding where Rambo fires a few bolts in him. The band is still alive despite being chained to the wall and unable to move. In the same manner, John rips his heart out of his chest with the final, most powerful blow. How he tore out his heart when he killed his embraced little girl. Rambo, bleeding from his wounds, leaves the barn and sits on his favorite porch chair. He promises to do everything in his power to preserve the memory of his loved ones who have passed away. Also, here film closes. Turn on notifications, please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.